Alright, hi everyone, welcome back to another video, another workout video. Now in this video, instead of showing a routine, I'm going to explain to you more theoretically how muscles work, how they attach, and also some tips about the training in your overall lifestyle. And yeah, so today's topic is going to be abs. Now this is a very common search term. So on YouTube, you can find a lot of abs workout videos, abs routines, how to get six-pack, how to burn the fat in your belly, and so on. So hopefully in this video I'm gonna be able to explain to you first anatomically how our abdominal muscles are made and their function, and then also giving you some tips about how to train them. Now when we're talking abs muscles, we're not just referring to the rectus abdominis, so to the six-pack muscle, the muscle right here, but we're also referring to the obliques, so the external and internal obliques, and to the transversus abdominis. Now some people consider as well the serratus anterior as an ab muscle, but actually it isn't. So the serratus anterior is not going to do any kind of movement related to the trunk or the pelvis. It's just going to do a movement related to the scapula and the shoulder. So that's why in this case I'm not going to cover it. And now, so let's just bring them down one by one anatomically. And yeah, so let's start from the rectus abdominis. So the rectus abdominis is a muscle that is going to start from your rib cage right here, right? It's going to just round downwards like this, and then it's going to attach to the pelvis. So you can feel a bone right here that is the pubic bone, and you can really feel it, and that's when this muscle is going to attach. Now the fibers are going to all round downwards like this. And now, depending on your genetics, you may have connective tissue. Like if you try to contract the abs, you can see that sometimes you can see these bulkings, right? Now these bulkings, how many of them you have is going to just depend on how many genetics, depending on your genetics, how many of this connective tissue you have that is going to run from one side to the other. So it's going to pretty much split the muscle. The muscle is just one, right? It's just one big muscle, but because of the fact that you're going to have this connective tissue running from left to right, you can actually see the bulkings of the muscle. That's why, depending on how many you have, you may have a 4-pack. So you have just one, so you have boom and then boom, and that's it. You may have 2 of them, so in this case you can have 1 and 2. You can have 3 of them, and normally that's the 8-pack. So you have 1, 2, 3, and then the bottom one. So 1, 2, and 3. So you have the 8-pack, but that's gonna depend on the genetics. So that doesn't have anything to do with the efficiency or with the overall aesthetics of the muscle. It's something that you cannot really control. And now you can see that because of this muscle, how the fibers are made, this muscle is either gonna bring the chest towards the pelvis if we have the pelvis fixed, or instead, if we have the chest fixed, it's going to bring the pelvis towards the chest. Next, the obliques. Now, there are 2 kinds of obliques. There is the external obliques that are the ones more superficially, so the ones that you find right beneath the skin, and their fibers are going to run diagonally like this. So from the back side, so from your side, from the rib cages of your side, towards the inside of your body, so the midline, and that means that you're going to activate, in this case, the external oblique fibers whenever you're rotating from the other side. So in this case, I'm rotating towards the camera right side, and so I'm using the obliques in the right side, in my left side, sorry, from the camera. So I'm rotating towards the right side, and I'm using the obliques in the left side. So that's it for the external obliques. Then you have more deeper obliques that are called internal obliques, and the fibers are going to run exactly perpendicularly, so 90 degrees from the external obliques. So the fibers of the internal obliques are going to run from the pelvis, so from the side but downwards, towards the midline, but they're going to actually go up like this. So the internal obliques instead are going to contract whenever you're rotating towards the side. So in this case, for example, I'm rotating again towards the left side, the right side of the camera. So I'm using the external obliques in the right side, but I'm using at the same time the internal obliques in my, the external obliques in my left side, and the internal obliques in my right side. Right? So that's how these muscles work together. And of course, normally the internal obliques are more used whenever you are, in this case, you are not rotating. This is not called rotation, but it's called like a lateral flexion. So whenever I'm flexing, in this case, and I'm actively pushing, that's when I'm activating both the external and internal obliques from the same side. Right? So in this case, you can see that I'm like pushing. So I'm not using the muscles right here. I'm just using the muscles here, right? And then we have the very deep transversus abdominis muscle. This is a muscle very, very deep that's gonna run. These fibers are gonna run like parallel to the ground, so like this. And this muscle is mainly activity is gonna be keep a good abdominal pressure and helps breathing. So whenever you're doing abs exercises, you cannot really target this muscle in terms of like being able to train it directly, but you can activate it more by trying to, instead of like doing this, so leaving your abs completely, your belly completely without tension, if you keep tension, right? So if you keep the abdominal pressure up like this, you are activating, of course, your whole abdominal muscles, so, but also the transversus abdominis. So you're activating all of them. And the transversus abdominis is mainly a stabilizer muscle. So whenever ab movement you're doing is going to actually contract, is going to help stabilize your body as you're doing the exercises, right? So that's the theory. So that's the anatomy. That's how the muscles and fibers work. So of course, depending on the fibers, you could see that the rectus abdominis is going to have this flexion, right, of the chest over the pelvis, or the pelvis over the chest, so top down or bottom up. And the same thing like with the rotation, right, like this. So opposite external oblique and a lateral, homolateral internal oblique, or you can do the flexion, the lateral flexion. In this case, you're using both the external and internal oblique from the same side. And that's it. Now, the thing that people get wrong almost all the time, but that's probably because of very bad information out there in the fitness world, is the fact that abs are going to be more visible depending on your fat percentage. So everyone has abs, because these are postural muscles, so muscles that are very important in stabilizing your trunk as you're moving your body in space. So imagine, for example, here, I'm here, and I want to grab that thing right here. So I need to bend over, like this, I need to grab it, and then I need to return again in this position. So as I'm moving, like all the abs are contracting, are stabilizing my torso as I'm moving in the space. And even more, this happens whenever you're trying to reach something like this. So something towards the side. Imagine here, the pressure in this side of the abs that need to compensate because of the fact that otherwise they just fall, right? So I need to keep this part stable to be able to actually flex towards one side or the other one. So abs work every day. From like 90% of your day, abs are working, are stabilizing your body as you're like, even like when you walk, when you run, whenever activity you're doing, other than laying flat on your back, the abs are working somehow. So the big misconception that people has is the fact that you cannot really like make these abs, whenever you're doing abs workouts, yes, you're training them, and you're making them maybe grow a little bit, but the growth that you can have in terms of abs cannot really be that huge. So yes, you can grow them a little bit, but that's it. The thing that really makes the difference in how visible they look is your body fat percentage. Now, the body fat percentage is one thing. So, is your total body fat percentage. So, whenever you wanna, for example, in this case, show your abs more, that means that you have to lower your total body fat percentage. Whoever tells you that you can burn just the fat in your belly is wrong. That's a lie. That's something that it's impossible. So you can't just burn the fat in your belly area. You need to lower your total body fat percentage to show more the abs, because it's just one thing. It's all related. So your overall fat percentage is all related. So if you have like normally a lot of people tend to get, like normally men tend to get fatter in the belly area, right? And that's true. But as you do workouts to lose fat, so fat burning workouts, high intensity workouts, total body workouts, because the fat body is something that is like one thing, one unit, you need to burn it through your whole body. So as you are doing exercises to burn your fat, you're gonna start losing it from your arms, from your chest, from your legs, from all the parts of your body, with as well losing it in your belly area. Now, of course, if you have a higher amount of fat in your belly area, it's going to be more likely that you're going to start losing fat more like faster from that area, because you have a lot of it, and you may instead like take more time until you can burn the fat, for example, maybe in the chest area or in your arms or in your legs. But that doesn't mean anything, alright? The important thing, the important message that you need to remember is the fact that in order to show more the abs, you just can't do only abs workouts. You can't. You need to do total body workouts to really burn and to lower your overall fat percentage. And on top of that, of course, then comes your lifestyle. So you can do all the workouts that you want, but if you eat bad, if you don't sleep enough, if you abuse sweets of alcohol and so, and you're gonna just lose all the gains that you gain with the routine. So it's not just doing total body exercises with a lot of sweating, high intensity, fat burning exercises, but it's also keeping yourself in control over your nutrition. So not overeating, but eating the correct amounts, sleeping well, drinking a lot of water, avoiding bad habits like drinking alcohol or like smoking or eating too many junk foods or sweets or soda drinks and so on. So all these factors are going to overall affect your total body fat percentage, and the more you lower your body fat percentage, the more your abs are going to be visible, even if you don't train them. So for example, skinny people, right? People that by genetics, by something, are very thin, you can already see their abs. But are they working the abs? No, they're not working, they're not doing anything. They just have such a low body fat percentage that the muscles that they have, because we all have abs, the muscles that keep the posture and that help in our movements, those muscles are going to be visible because their body fat percentage is very, very low. So yes, with the training you can target your abs muscles and you can make them grow a little bit, but it's more your body fat percentage that's going to determine whether your abs look more ripped and whether they look more and they're more visible than not. Alright, so that's the thing about abs. So normally the best thing when you're training abs is, because these muscles already work like 90% of your day, when you want to train them, you're going to train them with very high intensity workouts, very low resting periods, and trying to hit all the different areas. So top down movements, bottom up movements, rotational movements, isometrics with dynamic movements, and in that way you can really train all the rectus abdominis, the external obliques, the internal obliques, all your overall muscles, and not for a very long period of time. So whenever you're training very high intensity, low resting time, you cannot really keep on going forever. Like after 10-15 minutes, you're gonna be so exhausted, you're gonna have your abs overall burning that much that you cannot really continue. And that's totally fine, because normally like 10-15 minutes of workouts is just more than enough to train your abs correctly. And so, for example, instead of doing, you can do like 40 seconds, 45 seconds in which you're training, and then you have just 10 seconds, 15 seconds of resting, and then you start again with maybe another exercise, so involving maybe a rotational movement. And then you can have compound movement, so you have both the top down or bottom up movement with some rotational movements, and so on. So you can just use a lot of your fantasy. There are a ton of workouts on YouTube or on internet overall. You just have to pick one that you enjoy, and but not focus that much on reps, but focus instead of the time. So trying to train for like 45 seconds on, and then you rest the rest of the minute. You take your resting time, and then you start again. So in that way you're keeping the intensity high, and you're gonna really start feeling the burning and your raw results. So that's normally how you wanna train abs. But remember that in order to show them more and to like be more ripped, it's not much about the abs workouts that you're doing, but it's more about your overall body fat percentage. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya. Bye bye.